Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. We finalized our deployment checklists and made sure our smart contracts were ready for the public. Now we are moving to the next logical step, opening the doors to the token sale. Running a token sale often feels like managing the front door at a high-end nightclub. You have a massive crowd outside, and they all want to get in at the exact same time. If you just leave the doors wide open, a single person might rush in and buy your entire token supply before anyone else can blink. Worse, if you don't know who is sending the funds, you could accidentally process a transaction from a prohibited source, which creates massive legal headaches for the project. To prevent that scramble and stay within financial rules, you need a digital guest list called a whitelist. In this environment, the whitelist acts as the central mechanism that controls the flow of your entire ecosystem. A whitelist performs two tasks simultaneously. The ticket splits into two paths. The security scanner is the access pass, a real-time smart contract check allowing the transaction. The filing cabinet is the ledger record, a permanent history for regulators proving exactly who was approved. A developer's job is to choose a design that provides a fast access pass for the user while maintaining a reliable ledger record for the back office. The whitelist journey has specific stages. Users start pending while off-chain services check their ID. Once complete, they become approved, turning green on our timeline. Finally, they become active when the sale begins, or revoked if they fail checks or an admin removes access. Mapping these four states is a core part of the curriculum at Forge College, where we focus on turning complex business logic into reliable code. Tracking these transitions clearly is the only way to keep the sale organized when thousands of people hit the smart contract at the same time. There are three main ways to build this. The first is a centralized registry. This is like a bouncer holding a massive, heavy clipboard with every single name written on it. In this model, an administrator manually writes every approved address directly into the blockchain's memory. This creates a transparent ledger record for auditors, but it has a high cost. Every time you write a name to the blockchain, the project has to pay gas fees, the transaction costs of the network. A centralized registry is easy to audit, but if your guest list has 50,000 people, gas fees become a massive expense for the project. The second strategy is signature attestation. Instead of the bouncer having a list, the off-chain checker gives the user a digital signed VIP wristband. The user carries this proof with them and shows it to the smart contract only when they are ready to buy. The contract verifies the signature and lets them through. This removes the gas costs of writing names to a registry, but it puts more pressure on your security. You have to ensure users can't reuse the same signature or pass an expired wristband to the bouncer. Signature attestations are fast and cheap for the developer, but they require a very secure off-chain process to hand out those digital wristbands. The final strategy is the Oracle-anchored registry. Think of this as a bouncer wearing an earpiece to talk to a remote security headquarters. When a user arrives, the smart contract sends a message to an external service, the Oracle, to check if that user is on the approved list. This handles large numbers of users easily, but it creates a single point of failure. If the Oracle service lags or goes offline, the bouncer can't hear their instructions, and the door stays shut for everyone. Oracles provide high scalability, but your entire sale becomes dependent on that external connection staying active. Deciding which pattern to use is a matter of balancing priorities, weighing gas costs and speed against trust and auditability. For a small, high-value list, the clipboard might be best. For a massive public sale, you might need the wristband or earpiece. The choice depends on your budget and the number of participants you expect. A developer's goal is to find the right compromise that keeps the user experience smooth while keeping the project's record-keeping secure. Now that you understand these conceptual foundations, you are ready to start writing the Solidity code that makes these systems work. To dive deeper into these patterns and explore our other Web3 learning materials, visit forge.college. We have a full library of resources waiting for you. See you in the next lesson.